Every dream has a story, and every story has the power to inspire. On Unstoppable Journeys, a podcast by Sunrise, we celebrate those who dare to take the leap and rewrite their future. Today, I'm honored to introduce someone whose journey reminds us that courage, resilience, and hope can carry us across any border. Welcome, Mehak. She's our client. And she just recently became a permanent resident of Canada. Congratulations, Mahek. And I want to introduce her by letting you all know that Mahek is a senior investigator at one of the top banks in Canada, top 5 banks in Canada, and she works within their financial intelligence unit. We and the listeners, everyone is interested in knowing your journey, how you came to Canada, what made you think of going to Canada, what was life initially, what was life later on, when was the moment that you decided no, this is going to be it for you, and then now what's onward. So
Well,
once again, thank you so much for coming.
thank you for having me. It's actually a true delight to be here to share my journey, to talk about my wins, my struggles. I think Sunrise and you are a big part of my journey, the true realization of my dream. If I were to introduce myself again, my name is Mehak. I'm a licensed lawyer from India. I moved to Canada 2 years ago, and now I'm a recent permanent resident of Canada. I work at one of the top 5 banks in Canada. I'm a senior investigator with their financial intelligence unit. My role is to prevent and detect in crimes related to anti-money laundering and terrorist financing. And I love what I do, and I'm very glad to be able to share my journey. If anyone is able to take any piece of information from this, I think my purpose here will be fulfilled. I've been in the same shoes, when I was on YouTube looking for that one video where someone can give me raw information about how Canada is, what happens there, debunk some myths. I'm here to do that, and I will try my best. So thank you once again.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mehak. Mehak, let's start from the beginning. When you were in India and you mentioned that you're a licensed lawyer, can you tell the listeners what path did you come in to Canada for? Did you come in as a student?
I did come in as a student. So I graduated from a law school in 2021. I was in a 5-year integrated course. So I did my BA LLB and from Punjab University. I graduated in 2021. As we all know, COVID hit in 2020. So I was in one of the major years of law school. I was in 4th year. So that year is important to take on internships. And, that's a very definitive step in your career. What are you going to do? But since COVID hit, I was a little clueless as to what I should do. I went on a path where almost every law student does that. Okay, I'm going to sit for a competitive exam. I did that. And thankfully, I realized very soon that this is not for me. I did not clear the exam, of course, and the lifestyle did not align with me. I thought that, there's growth, there's steady growth, there's a lot of respect, a lot of other good things that are involved in that profession. But my first priority was just growth. I want to grow as soon as possible. And I think I always saw myself in more of a corporate role. So
Okay.
I that the city that I come from, I'm from Chandigarh for reference. I just knew that the corporate life that I'm looking for is something that I won't be able to find in my city. That was one thing. And then, well, the research began. So after I realized, hey, I think I want to move, I narrowed down 2 places. I thought, one, I'll either move to Canada. Second, I'll move to the US. And being as raw as possible, I knew that if I would be thinking about moving to Canada, it might not be the best decision, like compared to the US. There's a certain degree of respect that comes with it. Oh, you're going to the US, you're going to a school in US. I was chasing that. I thought that, oh, I don't want to go to Canada. Why? Because of the narrative attached to it. I was surrounded by people, extended family, friends who had this narrative or this notion that what are you going to do in Canada? What's there in Canada? So many immigrants. What are you going to do? There's no opportunities in Canada. Even after listening that, I didn't give up. I started my research on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn has been my best friend in this journey. So anyone using LinkedIn, please, that's going to be your best friend for the years to come. Went on LinkedIn, I started looking for people who were law graduates, and if they move to a different country, what are they doing now? So the trend that I saw with people in the US was they completed their education in US, some did public policy, some did law, whatever, and then moved to different. I'm like, okay, why are you not staying in the US? So I could already tell that maybe, it's something related to not being able to land a job there and not being able to get or realize their dream, basically. That made me realize, okay, why is it that people in Canada are in great roles and in 2 years, in 1 year, how is that possible? With the people talking like, oh, it's not that easy there, and there's no jobs, and there's so much negative media. But I'm seeing success stories. These are not fake. These are real people posting about their lives. They have good roles in top companies, top banks. How's that possible? And I think one thing about myself is if I see something that's done by another human being, I will think, okay, I can do it as well. The only difference that between me and them is maybe desire, ambition, or some sort of knowledge, which I can acquire. I started networking with a lot of people. So I'd message, cold email a lot of people. Hey,
This is on LinkedIn and on emails.
Yes. So I would try to get in touch with people. Hey, this is what I want to do. Try to explore more about my own career in terms of getting my license in Canada. So should I do that, or should I, come there to study? I realized that you can take the licensing exams even in India, but I wanted to take the lifestyle. I wanted to know if I'm going to make this country my permanent home. I cannot just make that decision while sitting in my country. I want to go there, see how it is for myself, and then invest in that sort of education.
Right.
I decided that I think I will go there and study. And I started looking at different programs, different colleges. What can I do to be able to get to them? What's the eligibility criteria? Then I think by then I decided that this is it for me. I'm going to be moving to Canada. Ontario is the province I'm going to be moving to. And I had no family here. I had no connections here. I just had a friend who was here. And to anyone listening, you do not need family to move to a different country. If you want to spread your wings, you absolutely can. Yes, just started with my research, was narrowing down colleges. By then, the timeline for your reference is January 2022. So
Okay.
January to, the summer part, the first 4 months of the year. So I'm there and I'm thinking by then I've missed the summer intake because everyone in Canada and, all the colleges are full. So everyone's like, now you need to approach the fall intake. So we're in fall. I'm applying for colleges. I went to an agency because I believe that if someone's an expert in that field, I'd like to take their help because they know more than me. All the
This is
information.
for our audience, this is back in India, right?
Yeah, this is back. I approached a consultancy and I thought, okay, they're experts in this field and I can get information from them. I went there. My experience was not very fulfilling, to be honest and raw. I would say my piece of advice would be do your due diligence. Understand what you're looking for. If the other party aligns with that, you feel comfortable, you feel that you're being heard of, proceed with them. Otherwise, do not. I think two things that happened with me were one, I was constantly feeling I'm running out of time. I have to get to Canada within this intake. Otherwise, 1 year is going to go by and I will miss this. It was a rush decision. I went through that agency. I was not guided properly. It was not like I was being heard as someone whose journey they're contributing to. You're another client for us. And going to really think what's the best for you. We are going to just give some information and you can just do whatever you want to with that. So I was suggested that why don't you go for a paralegal course? Now I'm thinking, hey, I got my license in India. I can practice in India. Why would I become a paralegal? It just does not align. So I told them that's not something that I would want to do. I picked up another course. I filed for my student visa. And even in the application process, I think certain things were messed up, which did create problems for me. Not too much, but to an extent, yes, certain things were not done very properly. And given the lack of information I had, even I could not correct it myself. And I think you're in a very vulnerable position at that point of time because your application, which is a very big factor in your journey, is in someone else's hands.
Right.
You're in a position where you're like, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to say so much that, they can mess up my. I don't want someone to be upset with me. I was in that position, kind of compromised there, went through with that application. Now the journey is going to get, or the story is going to get a little funny. I applied for my visa on October 8th, thinking that,
Of
okay,
2022.
and I thought that I'm going to be in Canada in winter. That's it.
Huh.
Done and decided. However, to my surprise, there was no update on my visa for quite some time. So I was doing something on the side, but I'm still thinking, hey, I need to, get a decision on this. I can't put my life on hold because of this. I can't get into the corporate role that I wanted to because there's probation, there's notice period. What if my visa comes? I can't really get into that. But I'm not getting a decision. So I'm stuck in a limbo. What should I do? I'm not really getting updated about my case. I don't have the credentials, which I understand, but getting regular updates is important. You knowing where you stand is important because I have to plan my life. Somebody's life is on hold. Well, 3 months pass by, the year is going, there's no update. So I've kind of lost it that, maybe this is not going to happen. I contact the college. I'm like, hey, I want a refund. I would not like to join the college. So they're like, if you're going to file for a refund, it's going to we're going to take away a certain portion of the fees that you've put through because you have gotten a decision. It's not like you've been rejected. Like, okay, because my New Year resolution is to, get into my dream job. And if Canada's not coming through, then I will do something here.
Right.
You have to have faith in yourself to be able to make a life for yourself wherever it may be. That happened. After I emailed the college, to my surprise, one day I'm going to bed one fine night and I just get a message which says, there's been an update on your application, your visa's here. So now I'm in a position where I just told the college I want a refund. And like, what do I do now? And by that time, I'd already landed a job in Chandigarh as well, a corporate role. So I'm like, what did I do? So within 2 days, I decided that I will be going to Canada because that was my dream. That was what I promised myself. But 6 months later, not right now, because practically not possible for me to join college in 2 days. I took a deferment. I had 6 months in India. And that's how the whole thing came through. That's how the visa came through. There was a lot of anxiety and there was a lot of anticipation. There was a lot of waiting, constant emails. Is there an update? What's happening? It is nerve-wracking, to be
Stressful.
honest. It is
Yeah.
stressful. Your career
Yeah.
absolutely.
It took a long time, and I guess even I remember those COVID days. IRCC was a nightmare to deal with. Not totally their fault because it was just too many rules coming in at too many times with limited resources. They didn't have the staff that could work from the office, and then their systems weren't as great working from home. But yeah, it was a messy time, and I can only imagine what you would have gone through for those many months. And then you can't put your life on hold literally, but all is well that ends well.
Absolutely. I had to pick up something. I could not have gone another year waiting for a result or waiting for an outcome that was something that I wanted. I gave that interview, got that role in India, started working, and I saw it as something that will give me the taste of corporate life, that I'll know what it is. I did
Right.
not really think about those times as, these are my last 6 months in India and I'm going to cherish and that with my time with family. I just thought that, okay, I'm going to gain some experience because I will need this.
Yeah.
When I will need this. What is going to make me stand apart from people who are moving? I always had that in the back of my mind that this is going to contribute somewhere. Everything that you do in life is going to bring you something. And I showed up for work. I worked there for about 6 months. And then I said, okay, I think I need to get packing and get involved in all of that. I'm going to be moving. But those 6 months were great. I learned a lot. And I think that's how it all started for me. Being there, I got to know so much, speaking to other people, hearing about their journeys, and also talking about Canada. So a lot of people knew that I'm moving.
And probably other people were also moving at the same time, or not so many.
Not really in touch with people who were moving. I specifically, I think, was the only one in my circle who was moving. A lot of people had found their careers in the city or somewhere in India. I was not aware of people who were moving to Canada specifically. So
Right.
when I brought it forth with extended family, friends, whatever, I was met with a very weird reaction. I was not congratulated when I told them, hey, I'll be moving. I was met with this sort of disappointment.
Well,
You can do so much better. There's nothing to do there. There's just minimum wage jobs. You have a
oh,
degree, you're a professional. Why are you going there? And it was disheartening. It was comments such as, oh, so what are you going to do there? You want to work as a barista? You can do that here. And it was hurtful being in that position where, you're constantly being told that आपसे नहीं हो पाएगा ये सब कुछ, or maybe opportunities ही नहीं है. And all this negative media that, listen to this podcast, listen to this interview of this some person. So many kids are dying there. Healthcare system is a whole crisis. You have your family here. Why are you stepping out of your comfort zone like that? अगर करना ही है, move to a different country. And I was sad, like, regardless of whatever you're telling me, unless I see it for myself, I'm not going to believe you. I have not applied for a single job. I have not gotten a single rejection. How am I going to believe you? I
yeah.
know that there's things that are happening, but if you think about negative things, they're everywhere in the world. It's not like
Hmm.
there's no crime in the city that I'm in currently. It's not like
India is not perfect. Yeah.
no country is perfect. There's no
Hmm.
place where there's 100% employment. No, there
Hmm.
there are journeys, there's people, and things are different everywhere. I will try
Hmm.
it for my and see. And by that time, my visa had come. There was no one who could stop me. I was set. I
That
was
was
set.
your unstoppable journey, even in spite of in spite of all the people saying, "Oh, this is going to be a waste of time. You're not going to have a career out there." You still were headstrong to say, "No, I'm going regardless." That's good on you. Awesome.
I was set. I think you have to have that certain degree of stubbornness in you.
Yeah.
That it's not about I'm going to prove you wrong. I might fail, but
Yeah.
how do I know that if I don't try?
Yeah. Yeah.
All these people that I see, these are not lies. And I can't just say that, oh, you know what, 20 people got lucky. No, they
Hmm.
don't. One
Hmm.
person got that job. Oh, it
Hmm.
doesn't work if you don't have references there.
Hmm.
I will share that later in my journey, but
Hmm.
it's not the truth. And all these things that were said that, oh, there's this minimum wage jobs, I'm a living testament of that. There's nothing like that. Canada is a beautiful country. A lot of people are really concerned about the rate of immigration and then how other people are viewing you. There's news about racism. There's, talk about this whole anti-immigrant narrative. I've been in the country for 2 years. I'm not going to lie. I have not encountered any such instance in my life.
Never a racist incident for you. You never felt it once. And you live in the GTA area, correct?
I live in downtown Toronto. I don't think there's been a single instance where I felt that somebody made a remark at me or there was silent racism. No, Canadians are beautiful people. They're extremely helpful, and I think they're a bit more acquainted with our culture. And I think it's the way that you execute yourself as well. See,
Yeah.
if you're expecting someone to be in your space, in your country, you expect them to behave a certain way. There's some civic sense that's involved. I
Yeah.
think if you that, if you are a good human being through and through, you're respectful about other people's time and energy and space, I don't think there's a problem. I myself have never felt that. And you're in good places. One, you should be able to identify if something like that happens. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that these things don't exist. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I personally have never encountered those. And I think if you are watchful of your actions, how you behave, nothing can happen. It
It's a
won't.
great thing that you talked about civic sense. I think that's a very, very big topic. Just because history of our country has been that we are very new travelers now, right? So we haven't had the history of having a European traveling flair where Europeans travel everywhere, every year, every
Yeah.
different country. So our civic sense, especially when we are outside of India, our comfort zone is very, very different, and usually a lot of dismal points come up on that. I often like to compare, if let's say you're in Chandigarh and someone moves from Tamil Nadu to Chandigarh, their culture won't be a perfect fit into Chandigarh initially. It's now the civic sense of the city and also Chandigarh's civic sense to adopt to welcome that person as well, right? It goes both ways. It can't be that only the person coming from Tamil Nadu to Chandigarh, the people in Chandigarh are obligated to make that person feel welcome. It is an obligation on that person as well to make sure that they align with the culture. There's some kind of a simpatico with the culture. There's an effort. So if
Absolutely.
it can happen within India, I mean, we're talking a different continent here.
Of
So
course.
I'm so happy
Um,
to hear you didn't have any type of negative experience.
I think you need to pick up on these little things. So in Canada specifically, telling people that, oh, I hope you have a nice day. I hope you have a great rest of your day is
Yeah,
kind of their lifestyle. It's just what they do.
yeah,
It's completely normal to stand and wait for the other person behind you, hold the door for them.
yeah,
This stuff back home.
yeah,
But as soon as you come here, you see that, you witness that, that's a nice thing. I also want to do that. Why not? I want to
yeah.
tell people have a good day, and people are telling me, if I'm, in a store, if I'm taking help from an employee, I'm going to ask them, how are you? How's your day going? Okay, have a great day. Small
Huh,
talk. Do
huh,
that.
huh,
Those little mannerisms that you pick up on, I think they go a long way.
huh.
If you show up as someone who's closed off, you're shy, and you don't want to talk to other people, they don't know that you're shy. You're just arrogant, and
They're rude. Yeah, yeah,
rude. You're not smiling at people. When I was in India, I remember I heard from somebody that in Canada, when you're waiting for your bus at a bus stop, someone will smile at you, and you can smile back, and you're supposed to say good morning, good night, whatever it is. When I was pretty new here, I think I was in an elevator this one time, and this one lady was like, okay, good night. She did not
huh,
know me. Like,
huh.
okay, good night. I made it a habit. If I'm in the elevator, I'm gonna ask them, hey, what floor? I can press it for you. Or I would,
Yeah,
wish. Does
yeah,
not take a lot. I feel if you're in a different country, it's nice to learn things there. It's nice to
yes,
how their culture operates, what are the things that they do. And that way you make good friends, good connections. You're a good member of the society, and you're
yeah.
contributing, and you're not taking away anything.
That's a brilliant point.
I feel I'm a representation of a lot of immigrants as well. You know, if they see me doing something that's not appropriate, if someone does that in my country, in my city, I think, oh, all of them are like that, I guess. No,
Yeah, yeah.
not like that. When you walk in public, you should have that responsibility on you that I represent a lot of people.
I was just thinking back when you were also talking about the elevator stuff. I remembered, when I moved to Canada, one of the first times that I had a person come up and say, "Oh, hello, good evening, how's it going?" I didn't feel instantly, "Oh, this is good," because my Indian instinct kicked in, which is usually if you have a random guy walk up to you asking you, "Hey, how's it going?" You're like,
Yeah.
"There's some kind of a scam happening right now. I need to have my guard up." So
Yeah.
it's such a different culture, but once you understand that people genuinely mean well, and if you
Yeah.
respond, as you said, if you respond back, and if you make a, it's not even a large effort, it's a very small effort to put in to make small talk, and then watch that love begets love, right? When you talk nicely to someone, they'll talk nicely to you, and it opens up so many conversations and so many doors, even in networking.
Yeah. Absolutely. I have been in that position. My first job was through networking. I've only done 2 jobs in Canada, which I still am doing.
Huh,
I've only done 3 interviews,
huh,
out of which the 2 jobs that I have are the one that I mentioned that I'm still working. I have a part-time job and I have a full-time job. You do not. Some journeys are different. I did not personally need to go through many rejections to be able to get the job that I have. Networking is key.
huh,
I am
huh.
where it's a true result of networking. It's not like you don't have to put in the work. Opportunities are presented to you if you network. One thing I always say about Canada is ask and you shall receive. You
People
just have.
don't ask. A lot of times people are scared to ask. I have another question for you on this same topic, Mehak. Do you notice that in your own journey, did you notice that assimilating into the Canadian culture, when I say assimilating, I mean not only talking to our own ethnic group, our own Indians, talking to Caucasians, talking to your Japanese, Chinese classmates and other ethnicities. what is your opinion on that? Is that important to assimilate into it, to make friends from all cultures, or a lot of people end up just hyper focusing on being part of their own community?
I think it's very, very important to have a diversified friend group. It contributes a lot. You get different perspectives. See, what happens here is when you come to this country as an immigrant, you
Hmm,
need comfort of community. You seek that.
right.
That there's someone who's been through the same journey who's going to
Hmm,
understand. I miss home right now. I'm homesick right now. I understand that you're not in the zone of making friends. You're not really thinking about other people. You kind of feel very disassociated that I am struggling right now and I've left the comfort of my home. That's when you need your community and people who are relatable to you, who come from similar backgrounds. But once you're a little settled, try and talk to other people. They've had similar journeys. Homesickness is a natural emotion. It's a feeling that everyone feels, no matter where they come from.
yeah.
There's so much to connect on. And I think if you're in a different country, why not? I don't
Yeah.
get the do that back home. I don't get to speak to different people, ask about their journeys back home. If I am getting the chance to, why not? I want to learn about different cultures. And I think one big problem is that when you're talking to people who are from similar backgrounds, sometimes
Hmm,
there's this one notion that everyone has, and it starts rubbing off of it on you.
hmm,
If you're
hmm,
the only one who's the most educated, if you're the only one who is the best at everything in your friend group, you are failing. You need to be in places where there's other people that you can learn something
hmm,
from.
hmm,
If you
hmm,
talk about
hmm,
Asian, they are put into different hobbies and different things, even as kids. Like
hmm,
there's so many of them who would know instruments. There's so many of them, who'd be in great big careers. There's so many of people. I mean, so many immigrants with different journeys, with different
right.
community special interests. You can talk to those people and then you'll find something common. At the end of the day, they're human beings.
Hmm, hmm,
Sticking
hmm,
to your culture and just sticking to your comfort zone is okay if you're seeking that love. But then
hmm,
within your own community as well, there are going to be times when you are getting good at something and someone's not, who has come from a similar background. They might feel that, oh, you know, there's envy involved then.
hmm,
Those negative things do come up. So you
right.
want to be in a position where you know a lot of people, and it's not because you're wanting something from them. It's not because you're trying to network with them. Genuine connections can be formed without any ulterior motives.
Without any vested interest, just be networking, just be talking, just be curious.
Learning about people, hey, how's your day going? Oh, okay, even if you're in a college setting, say you're a
Hmm,
student here,
hmm,
it's not that you have to just group with your, people of your community for your assignments.
hmm,
I
hmm,
think the professors here are very flexible with that. It's not like you're assigned roll numbers and like 1 to 5 will have a group. You can pick your own, partners. Try to step out of your comfort zone. Try to pick them and talk to them and see, what are they doing? What are their plans? Learning about different cultures is one point. And then also, I think everyone brings some certain knowledge to the table that you might not have. There's so many
that's
people
right.
that you don't. You can understand those things. And one question always is going to be in my mind, why not? What's
Huh,
stopping you?
huh,
What
huh,
I think when a lot of people come here at a younger age, their self-confidence just plummets. I'm an immigrant. I don't know a lot about this country. If you're able to figure out the transit system here, you're in an unknown territory. You don't have a comfort space here. You're able to figure out your life here. Hey, this is the way that I take to get to college. This is the bus that I take. This is
huh.
where this place is. If you're able to navigate that, why not navigate life like that? What is stopping you? People start thinking very lowly of themselves that nobody would want to speak to me, or
Hmm.
there's so many of us, they kind of think that we're in a group. No, you should be open to all that. If you have charted all these unknown territories, you're figuring your life out here, spread your wings a little more, get out of your comfort zone, talk to people, understand. They're very open.
That's fantastic advice.
It's not as easy. Sometimes you might be encountering a person who's also shy, but then
Yeah,
there's other people that you can speak to. What's I think you can never lose.
yeah.
And
What do you have to lose, right? Yeah.
yeah, If your goal is to experience,
Hmm.
everything is going to be a win. Be it rejections, be it friendships, be it learning. If you're here to experience stuff, it is going to be a win. I am going to take away something from that.
That's
Maybe
a
if it affects me,
beautiful attitude.
I will see that, okay, I have to be respectful of certain people's boundaries.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or if someone's completely open and they're telling me things and we're going out and they're showing me stuff. When I moved here, a lot of people would talk about neighborhoods. Oh, this
Huh.
neighborhood, they have very expensive houses. I don't
Hmm.
know what neighborhood are they talking about. I just moved to the country, but I'm curious. Like, what?
Hmm.
Where is neighborhood? Okay, you said west of here. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Oh, that's that place. I'm not buying a house, but I'm listening. I'm
Yeah.
understanding. There's things that you're learning. If I talk about my city, I'm going to say, oh, if you want to shop, you should go here.
Hmm.
Or, because I've lived in that city for so long. But if someone's new here and you're indulging in these conversations, not just in the interest of your career, but in terms of life, you get lonely as an immigrant. If you don't have friends, you don't have family, festivals are lonely, birthdays
Yeah.
are lonely.
Yeah.
That helps there. Having those friendships, having those connections, it helps there. Stepping out of your comfort zone, trying to talk to people who are different than you is not going to harm you.
And is essential, it seems, to success.
It is completely. It builds tolerance
Huh.
and it gives you new perspective to life. You understand their backgrounds in a way.
Right.
This, why are they so career oriented? What's happening with our community or what's happening with me? Why am I not thinking like that? And acts like a motivation. If I've seen someone on, a networking platform and I'm thinking, okay, this person got this job within a year,
Huh.
I want to do that. How did they do that?
Huh. Huh.
A human being as I am, where they have similar education. And I think in Canada, these things don't even matter that much. Your identity as a human being is more important than your resume.
That's right.
Who are as a person is more important. And I've encountered that several times in my life. In my 2 years here, I think that's one big takeaway. And the best thing about Canada is you're not your resume. You're a human being. And your other attributes, your confidence, your outlook towards life, your willingness to grow, your willingness to show up, your dedication, that matters more. Even in school, even in your part time jobs, even in your full time roles, in your journey, these things are going to matter. You are not your grades, you are not the course that you take, you are a different human being. That
You're not just the Microsoft skills on a resume, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Things are important. Yes, I'm not going to say that don't do those certifications, but it's the way that you show up.
Yeah, yeah, no. That matters more for sure. The way you show up. Yeah.
I think your appearance is important. What you do in your free time. I mean,
Huh.
people are on LinkedIn or on these learning coaching programs. I'm going to learn Excel in 10 days and I'm going to put it on my resume. But if you're looking shabby, showing up and not being able to have a conversation with the other person, my friend,
Then it's no use.
no use.
No amount of skills is gonna help you then.
It's the confidence that you carry in
Yeah.
yourself. You should have unwavering confidence in yourself, and that should be backed up by something. It's maybe the education that you have, yes, but the personal skills that you have as well. Are you able to have a conversation with somebody? Are you able to ask about the things that you're interested in? Do you have the tolerance to learn about their interest? Is there
Huh.
something common between you? The weather
Huh.
is such a beautiful topic that you can talk about. Hey, I'm where it's not that cold. I did not know for the longest time that Feb is the coldest month here. I thought, okay, January would be. No, Feb is the coldest.
January or December, yeah.
That's what we think, right? Oh, there's so many holidays, there's Thanksgiving, there's this and that. There's so many things that you can learn. I think your entire goal should not be getting into that dream career that you want or, finalizing your status here. You should see it as an opportunity that you've been presented. And you're
Huh.
not here to travel. You're here for a long time. If you're staying here for 2, 3 years, 1 year, long time to see things, to experience stuff, to understand. I think that should take priority before anything else.
100%. On that topic, Mehak, you mentioned, the fact, of course, you wanted to build a corporate life and you were looking onward and upward. In your attitude, in your mindset, it seems you're always trying to think ahead, being curious, learning in that moment on how it can improve you for the future. What moment, because you came in as a student, what moment did you think this is it. This country is it. This is where I want to be permanently. What was that exact moment? Was there one?
I think there were several. Honestly, there
Several
were
moments.
many, many things that happened which made me realize day on that I'm going to try and make this my home. I think a lot of factors that will be common to a lot of people who are listening is when you're coming from a country where there's growth, there's no
Hmm.
denying grow there, but it takes
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I wanted it fast. If I'm in a senior position after working 1 year, I don't think it's a possibility from where I come from. It is not. Your skills, your dedication gets you there. One was
Huh.
that.
Huh.
Second, I would say, when you're a student, you have all these professors who've been in the industry for multiple years. They're not just professors; they're people who are actually working in that field. They're coming for guest lectures. They're teaching part time. Every professor has certain time that they set aside. That if you want to speak to me, you can set up a meeting with me and we can talk. A lot of these professors would, propel you in good directions. They would tell you that, oh, you've got such great talent and you should do this and that. When I saw that a person can have a teaching career while also have
Huh.
another career,
Right.
wow, stellar. Like being able to do two things at once. But all these success stories that you hear, oh, this person, is in this career or in this position, bought a house or whatever that may be, you're growing financially, certain things which are considered luxury back home
Huh.
that
Huh.
maybe 2021, and who's going to give you these finances to get a car if you don't
Huh.
have a even if you have a job, you've had it for a year, which bank is going to give you a loan to do that? It's not like that
Correct.
here. The mere common factors of a life here. It's
Huh.
not
Huh.
that these are just common things that you do here. Those things make you realize that maybe this is the place that I see myself in the next 10 years. And I feel the culture, the people, the weather, there's so many beautiful things about the country. People are so tolerant, people are very helpful, very polite. And career wise, I think I take my career very seriously. I feel if I'm devoting 5, 6 days of my life to something, that takes
Huh.
away a big portion of my life. And if that is going to be very fulfilling, if I wake up every day thinking, wow, I want to work and it's such a happy day,
Huh.
that is a factor that pulled me in. I don't think I will be in a position anywhere else where I would feel the same way. I feel extremely happy, thankful every morning when I wake up and start my day.
Even on a Monday morning.
Yes, even on a Monday morning, I think little sacrifices that you make go a long way. If you wake up early and you have to go to this one job that you have, it is going to contribute, it is going to give back to you in one way, shape, or form. And I think the overall culture in Canada, there's a lot of volunteer culture. So you volunteer a
Huh.
lot of. Now, if you're giving back, you will get it in some way. It is going to come to you. If you're giving back to society, I think working without reward is a
Huh.
big thing. If you
Huh.
are doing
Huh.
thing without having any vested interest, any ulterior motives, it is going to come back to you. The opportunity is going to come to you. Um, I had several moments where it was very clear to me that I'm going to stay in this country, and those are defined by various other factors. It's the lifestyle that I can have here, it's the security that I can have here, it's how fast everything is going to fall into place. It's almost like a domino effect. One thing happens,
Right.
the second, third, just keeps happening. Yes, there are bad days, no denying in that. There are days when you're going to question your life. When I first
Yeah.
moved here, I was in that position as well. The only thing that I encountered was one person's going to a shift, another's coming back, another's
Huh.
going somewhere back. So maybe everyone was right about those minimum
Huh.
wage jobs. But what
Huh.
I feel
Huh.
at that time was when you're in college, you have a schedule, you have classes, and then there's regulations that as an international student, you can only work up to these amount of hours.
Right.
Really, you might be able to, but in most cases, you won't be able to land the dream job that you have while being on that schedule.
Huh.
So you have to sometimes go through certain other jobs, certain other things to be able to get to that place. But
Huh.
the choice is yours. What is that minimum wage job going to be? Is that a job that is going to give me skills that I can use for that? Or is that going
Huh.
to be a where I'm thinking I just need my bills to be paid? I will
Huh.
take whatever I get. There
Yeah.
can be adverse circumstances. There can be times where you need the money and there's nothing that you're getting. You're taking that job, 100% respect to you. as your circumstances warrant, do whatever you please. But
Yeah.
when you get the time, when you get the ability, don't get comfortable in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It is possible. All these people getting all the success that they want, landing their roles, or getting their permanent residencies, it is somewhere something that convinces you that
Yeah.
it's not a lie. I can make my life here. I'm one of those people. I saw other people and I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a try. And unless I have that rejection, I'm not going to think that it can't happen. If I'm not trying, I will not come to the conclusion of it. I will just not listen to other people and believe that, you know, nobody's saying that it's going to be a bed of roses. People can sugarcoat stuff, but you have to believe that as an adult, yes, there's going to be hardships, and those can be subjective. My pain would be maybe waking up early. Someone's pain would be walking in such harsh weather. But I think it's where you're going. You just
Yeah.
keep reminding yourself. I think people lose a lot of motivation because you're here alone. Nobody's
Yeah.
going to, oh, aaj aap bahar se itna kaam kar ke ye lo khana. Nobody's going to do that for you. Your routine is not 9 to 5. It's 7 to 10.
Uh,
You wake up
uh,
at 7,
uh,
make your own breakfast, you do your own groceries, you do your own laundry. In India or anywhere else, I think there's a lot of shared responsibility.
yeah.
Your clothes, someone's making food for you. You forget all that. But
Yeah.
when you do it here, the stress adds up and then you start questioning your life. Is this what I came
Uh,
here for? I didn't come here to do a minimum wage job. Yes, you did
uh,
not. But we're going to find a way to get out of this situation.
uh, uh, uh.
All can, things can change at any given point
Mm.
of time. You decide when they can change.
So you're saying that it's in that person's control. It's not their destiny to be forever stuck in that loop of only minimum wage jobs. It's a good starting point when it's needed. It's a good
Yeah.
stepping stone, but one must actively think of it as a stepping stone and not just get comfortable in it.
I think, see, a minimum wage job can be in any field,
Yeah.
not just, you working. I've heard this term called immigrant,
Hmm.
that, oh, you're an immigrant and
Tim
you're
Hortons and
immigrant. It's an ongoing joke. With all due respect to people who work in the food industry, you have to stand on your feet for long durations. You have to attend customers. Sometimes you will mess up
yeah,
someone. It's harsh. It's difficult. But
yeah.
there's other jobs that pay you the same wage, but
Huh.
they give you the time and luxury to do
Uh,
other things, to focus on
right.
your goal, your ultimate goal. I always had that in my mind. I will wait, but I will not compromise.
Huh.
I will not compromise. I think, that saying that people always use here is beggars can't be choosers.
Yes.
That comes in very later.
Huh.
I am not the beggar here. I bring
Huh.
something to the table. I will work, I will get the skills, but I will do something that my heart and soul feels comfortable at. But also that contributes to my bigger goal, my bigger objective. I'm getting the same amount of money,
Huh. Huh.
not about the money. Yes, if you're just not able to put anything on the table and you have financial emergencies, 100% do that. Take that opportunity. It's not like there's no growth there. But if that does not sit right with your system, if you feel that this is not going to help me in going anywhere, then don't. Don't
Yeah.
accept. You're not in a position of compromising. If this is your dream, and if you work hard, you can obviously try and get there. See, not everyone can say that, oh, you're just lucky.
Huh.
Mindset coupled
Huh.
with strategy gets you
Huh.
to play.
Huh.
If I
Huh.
won't settle, there's always a temptation to settle. There's always going to be times where someone is going to offer you a certain amount of money and say, this is the best that I can provide. You will say, I might just take it because I don't know if the next interview is coming up. I don't know if there's an acceptance letter coming my way. These are the skills that you work on. You work on negotiation. You work on not giving up. You don't just compromise simply because you don't know what's going to happen. If your circumstances, again, I'm going to say that, warrant that, if there's nothing that you can do and it's an absolute emergency, do it. But at the same time, do not settle for less. Do not think of yourself as just an immigrant. That's not your identity. There's more to that. I always say that, okay, this is who I am. And above all, I'm an immigrant. Yes, that is a part of my identity. That is not my entire
Not going to change. Yeah. I
Absolutely.
love that. I love that thought. Very, very pragmatic way of looking at things. And I especially like the bit that you talked about when you said if someone is working in one of those jobs, use that job to learn other skill sets, not in the job, but even the stuff that happens outside the job, like the negotiation, going up to your manager and saying, I think I deserve more. That's a skill set. You're learning negotiation, like you said. So it's a very, very good approach, strategy and mindset. And I think this all, whatever you mentioned so far, it all kind of encapsulates what you were saying early on as well, that people should integrate, do a little bit to go outside of the comfort zones. That seems to be the common theme. And and it's possible to get more. It's not, you're not going to be rich overnight. That's, I think that's just fooling yourselves. That's not going to happen in India, in the US, in Canada, nowhere. I mean, it may happen in one in million, but that's not what you're going for. If you're going for a good wholesome life, and a life where you are challenging yourself and you're going upward, onward and upward, then this is the right approach.
Absolutely. I think there's no denying in that. You are defined by your character and not the things that you have, because your circumstances can change at any given point of time. The best thing about Canada is nobody's ever asked me what school you went to, what degree do you have. It doesn't matter. There's people, who are from diverse backgrounds and they land their dream jobs. It's about the skills that you have. Are you
Yeah.
able to align the skills with the role that you want to get into? Are you able to justify it to them that I know these things? And even if you don't, see, I had the advantage of coming here after my bachelor's.
Huh,
A
huh,
lot of people do not have their bachelor's when they come here. So
huh,
what, you graduated from school, maybe you did like, some debates in school, you went to a certain MU and that's what you have. It's okay. It's not like
huh,
it's going to stop you from getting a job there. No.
huh, huh,
One, if you're not getting a job in those circumstances, you have to realize your competition is people who have so much,
huh,
to be able to be in that position is very good. You're competing with not people who are equal. You're competing with people who have more than you, and you're still able to get somewhere. Even if you don't have anything like that to present and you don't have any prior experience to show, you have the willingness to learn.
yeah.
You tell them that I will show up. I have the dedication to show up. I can give you an example of somebody that I know, a very close friend of mine, came here
Huh,
after 12th grade, did not really have a lot on their resume, just went to a mall. And those are the things that you think that, oh, this is the best job that I can get. Maybe a retail job, I can work at a store. She started working at a store, and I think this is from 2021 or 22. I guess a very big snowstorm came, and then she could not make it to work by transit. So she
huh,
in a cab and she called her manager, said, "Hey, I'm coming to work." And the manager said, "You don't need to. You can stay home. It's too bad out there." But she said, "I'm
huh,
already way there. I might as well just come." So she said after that, when the next paycheck came in, she gave me $1 or two more than the minimum wage. And I asked her, I think there's, something wrong there, because is this not supposed to be
I was.
minimum wage? She said, no, you
Huh,
showed up, right? You said that even despite of me telling you that don't come in, you still did.
huh,
And if you constantly tell people that I'm going to show up, I will do something, I have the willingness to learn, I will respect whatever it is that my work is. If you get into that zone where you constantly think of yourself in a way that this is not what I came here for, you'd lose respect for yourself in that process.
huh,
And I
huh,
like myself for whatever I'm doing. Those are temporary circumstances. They can
yeah.
change. It's in your hands. You can start applying for better jobs. If you don't see jobs, you can start talking to other people. There's always this conversation that I hear. All these jobs are fake postings. They just do that for LinkedIn purposes, but nobody ever answers.
Huh.
But somebody's getting hired, right? When I came
Somebody's getting jobs.
here, and I was trying to find a house for myself. I was struggling with, finding an appropriate accommodation for myself. When I travel, I'd see all these tall buildings and I'd see all the lights in there. I would see, kahin to, there will be one room that
Huh,
will be, so there's going to be one role. I'm not
huh,
asking for 10 jobs at the same time. I just need one role. There's going to be something out there for me. I just have to look for it. And you look in the right places. And how you identify that is where your heart aligns, where you think your skills align. Figure out one industry. Don't think about 10 different places. One industry, maybe narrow it down to one role. before even coming to Canada, I knew exactly what role I wanted and in what industry to get in. It did not start after my school ended. It started before that. I was talking to people even before I had like 8 months to get into that process of interviews. I'm just learning. I'm just trying to ask what's the process like? What's the hiring process like? What sort of resume do you need for that? Those people have those jobs. If one person is not going to respond to you, maybe the other two will. I think all immigrants share this one emotion that I was in this position as well at one point of time. Why not?
Yeah.
I am. If when people reach me, there's not many who do, but if someone does and they're like, hey, can you have a look at my resume? 100%. I will. I will promise you that once I get off of work, I might even schedule a call with you and tell you do this and don't do that. But if you're going to message me and say, hey, I saw that you work at this in this place, can you refer me? I might not be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because one, I have not worked with you. I don't know, a work ethic. Second, I don't know you at all.
Yeah.
You're just after a job. You're not trying to
Not
learn.
gonna vouch for someone that I've never networked with, no idea who you are, and how can I take your guarantee or put your name ahead? Yeah. On the topic of jobs, Mehak, can you tell us a little bit about how you got your job? You mentioned that you have two jobs. You have a part-time role and then you have a full-time role. Can you tell us how you got these two jobs?
When I was in India, I already known that I'm going to work there. I'm going to pick up a part-time job, obviously. My intention was not to pay my bills. It was that I need this job to pay my bills. It was to think that, okay, I have to get into this in this industry. Is there a job that is going to help me get there? You know how people land internships and then they get a final offer that, hey, we want to keep you. So I was
Yeah.
thinking, is there something like that I can find? Maybe something in that. However, for me, it was not possible. The role that I currently am in, I don't think there was a part-time role similar to that I could have gotten. So you have these WhatsApp groups of colleges. I met this fine gentleman through that group and we networked and started talking on LinkedIn. So saw his current job and I'm like, oh, this is an admin desk related job. How is it like? So we got on a call and he told me that this is what my role is and these are my timings. It gives me the opportunity to focus on other stuff as well. I can finish my assignments in time and I can also network with a lot of people there. I'm stressing on networking because it is a community center. There's a school there, there's daycare, there's gym there, there's a swimming pool. It's a big facility. So a lot of families come in there. A lot of people who have businesses, a lot of people who are in careers that you would want to be in, and you're their first contact, the person that they meet every day. So you talk to them, he's like, oh, I was able to, land my co-op from there. So I was like, wow, that is interesting, just you met someone and you were able to land up a co-op there and that's really nice. He said if there's ever an opening, I will tell you. When I came to Canada, of course there was no opening there. So I started applying to different jobs and I sat down, checked my resume that the best fit I am is for any legal related role. If I could get get into a legal assistant sort of a role, I would try that. Another lesson, when you're applying for jobs, there's a lot of scams. Be aware of those. There's a lot of people hiring for different things. If you don't feel confident, if you don't feel comfortable, don't go ahead with that. A lot of people don't, come from or have that sort of mindset where they think that something wrong can happen. You're very vulnerable in that times. Yeah. I applied for a position, for a legal assistant position. Someone called me and they were like, we're going to put you on an unpaid internship for 45 days, I guess. And after that, we will decide if you want to keep you. And you would have to travel to our office, which was, I think, 1.5 hours away from me. And I was okay, and then what's the work like? You're going to be a caseworker. I'm like, okay. And can you tell me what my day-to-day is going to look like? Mind you, there's no interview. They're just telling these things. And then like, okay, sure. But if you could give me like a list of roles and responsibilities, which were not mentioned on the ad on Indeed, I guess. It was just mentioned that these are the hours and this is sort of the idea of how the work is going to be. Then they asked me, do you know how to manage social media? I'm like, that doesn't align with what they're talking about. Can you make? I'm like, but I don't understand. Like I'm thinking in my head. So this was a caseworker and then it's a paid, unpaid
Social
intern.
media and
why social media there? So they just wanted a face for their social media and somebody to also do the casework and also to handle their social media. I said,
For
one, I'm not,
free.
yeah, I don't have the clarity of what the work is going to be. And second, I don't think I can travel that much. Thank you for the offer, but I'm going to decline it. I was they said, what's your current status? We can, provide you with an LMIA. And
Huh.
I was like, I'm going to disconnect this call. This is too uncomfortable for me. And why are you saying all that? So all these things are true.
Yeah.
People
The
can fall.
scams.
Yes, very, very easily. If someone's saying that it's going to be an unpaid internship of 45 days, and if I'm in a position where I'm thinking, oh, job in my own field, and you know what, 100% they're going to be hiring me after 45 days. 90% chance they won't be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to really be cautious. That's where I say, don't think of yourself as beggars, can't be choosers. You're not a beggar in this position. You have to
Hmm.
choose where you want to be. If you're giving 5 days of your life to something for a very elongated period of your life, 1 year, if I say I'm going to be working as a student there, 5 years every week is a lot. I don't
Huh.
want
Huh.
5 years to cause me stress. I
Huh.
don't want 5 days to be in a position where I'm scared constantly that, oh, my manager is going to say something to me, something might happen, or like I might not get paid. No,
Huh.
find a job that has dignity. Find a job that you feel safe in. You know that paycheck is going to come in, and I don't have to fight with anybody for that. There's so many stories that you hear about people who are promised something and they get something just because they don't have the knowledge. And then that ties back to the people that you talk to. If there
Yeah.
is no informing me about these things, if there's nobody who's telling me that, hey, don't fall for all of this, I will think this is the norm, this is normal, this is how it works here. It does not.
And it's gonna only compound on the disappointments more and more, right? If you don't think, and if you go for whatever sounds best for the moment, and you hear things like, oh, we'll help you with your PR and your LMIA, those are golden words to a temporary student or a foreign worker,
Yeah.
and find out after 20-30 days that you've just been scammed. And if you keep falling into that pattern, you're only going to end up having a really, really disappointing experience. And then your narrative to the rest of the world is going to be that this is not the place to be. Whereas if you kept your wits about you, I mean, what sounds too good to be true, what they say, right? If it sounds
Yeah.
too good to be true, it probably is.
Yes. I think I came here in August and September beginning. So I did
Hmm.
not have a job for the first initial 4 months. You get a
Yeah.
GIC amount. I was paying my
Yeah.
rent. I think you can find out and manage your expenses a certain way. I'm not going
Huh.
to find and get a lease on my own name if I know that I don't have the money to pay for it.
Huh. Huh.
Sacrifice there. I'm going to sacrifice my personal space. I'm going to live in a shared apartment. I'm going to maybe
Huh.
share a room. It's like a dorm room, whatever. Um, Not settling for less again and also not falling for the trap of I only want to be in my community. I live in downtown. I've always lived in downtown. A lot of people, when I came here, if you speak to somebody, oh, where do you live? You live in like a certain area where it's away from Brampton.
Huh.
Sorry, where it's away from downtown. No,
Yeah.
I live down. There's more opportunities here. There's more jobs here. I can talk to a lot of people, and then the stress of commuting is less. If I
Yeah.
take 10, it takes 10 to 15 minutes for me to get to my job, but I'm spending a little more. But that commute time I can utilize that time for something else. I can do
Yeah.
some sort of skill development, whatever. I can pick up a hobby, whatever.
Yeah.
um that pays off. I did not have a job for the first 4 months, and I was not too sad about it, honestly.
Huh.
I was
Huh.
not sad because I knew that the job that I want is something that is going to sit right with me. I will wait rather than just falling into something that I don't like. So in December end towards the time around holidays, that friend that I mentioned earlier messaged me that there might be an opening. Just email my manager and see what happens. So
Huh.
I wrote email to the manager. I attached my resume in. I did not hear back for a
Huh.
week or so, and then the next year started. So I thought, okay, the holidays, maybe now he's back. Then I followed up. I was like, hey, I put through my resume, and I just wanted to know what's the status of my application. He said, okay, come in for an interview. Went for an interview. It was a small interview. They explained the role to me. They asked me certain questions and they said, okay, now you can come in tomorrow for a 3-hour shift. We'll get you started with that. Delighted, over the moon. Why? I can do so much with this job. I like these people, there's security there, I'm in a building, I'm not standing outside somewhere in harsh weather, and the timings are very much like 9 to 5 or whatsoever. And the time that I get back from this, I can utilize it
Hmm.
somewhere. Was extremely happy about that. It was a minimum wage job. I was not making top money with it. No, it was a minimum wage job, but the happiness that you receive from making such decisions or getting those things is, you can't compare it with something.
Immeasurable.
It cannot be compared. I
Hmm.
started that job, and so I started in January. I was already, I think, I finished with my first semester. I was in my second semester of school by that time. So manager is a gem of a person. He would make those schedules that align with your school timings and all of that. And then, you're there. When you're there, you meet a lot of people. So you
Hmm.
get it. Canadians are very curious people. So you will see, there's people who will always ask you, how's your day going? Oh, you're in school? How's school going? What are you studying? And I met a lot of people who would always say that you're so smart, you should do something else. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to, and this is what I will do. For people who can, if you're in a field where you can make those connections, which will be helpful for you, 100% do that.
Like a
There
interaction where you can interact with people, right?
There's a very famous YouTuber who is in the legal field. She's from a different country. She did her lawyer licensing exams in Canada, became a lawyer there. She has a YouTube channel where she helps people. I met her
Huh.
there. I'm like,
Huh.
hey, I for YouTube. And she was like, oh, have you? Are you in the same field? I said, yes. So you will by chance run into so many people here. It's a big, big city. So the opportunities are endless, but you should know how to you're able to use them. If I'm
Yeah.
just there and not wishing anyone,
Aimlessly just sitting there, then there's no point.
if my motivation to show up to work is, hey, I do this work and I should get paid for that, maybe you're not going to get anything extra out of it. You're just going to get
Huh.
that paycheck.
Huh.
If
Huh.
your mindset is, hey, I'm going to make connections here. I'm going to ask people
Hmm.
how life is here and, how their day to day looks like and what the career are they in.
Huh.
They will help you. Somebody taught me about finances. Hey, you should invest in stock market. Why would they? But we just got into a conversation like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they learn more about you. Maybe they find you to be a suitable person to have a conversation with. Anything for that matter can be turned into a conversation where it's a learning experience. Anything.
And some other than, not that you have a vested interest in mind, but it's only conversations like that that lead into an opportunity a lot of times as well. Any type of, it doesn't have to be a job opportunity, but anything. It can be you had the opportunity to learn about the stock market, right, from someone that was perhaps an expert at that. Where else would you have had that access from? A paid class.
Obviously, and you see, you those ads in India or the things that we used to watch koi show mein kahin ki somebody helped someone on the road and then next day
Huh.
they went for an interview. That person turns out to be their boss. I'm gonna hire you. You're so nice.
Yeah, yeah,
People
yeah.
start believing in all those things that I will show up as a nice human being because that's who I am, and then somebody someday will notice that.
Somebody will share. Yeah.
And apart from that, never ever give up on that big dream of yours. Never get comfortable in the roles that you're in. So if I get serious about how I transitioned from this part-time job to the full-time job that I have was, so like I said, I was in the second semester of my education at that point of time. And I was seriously messaging people on LinkedIn. I was
Huh.
asking resume reviews. I was asking them about hiring processes here and there. But at that time, I was still not eligible to apply for a full time job. Those moments, those months were very crucial. And I decided that I need to set aside time to have these calls. People go on coffee chats here. It's a very common thing. If someone has time to meet you, you can meet them in person, take them out for coffee, ask them all the questions you have. But, if someone has a very busy lifestyle and you are not able to meet them in person, your LinkedIn, your best friend again, message them, hey, are you able to get on a call? Or just like, write a very crisp message and
Huh.
send it to them whenever they have time, they're going to respond to you. Please, please, please remember there are helpful people in this world. Everyone is not a bad person. Not everyone is going to be your enemy. Not everyone is jealous of you. There's people in the world who want to see other people succeed. There's people in the world who think, I'm going to go forward from there. Somebody can fill in the position that I was in. you have to leave an impact on people, an imprint on people so that they remember, oh, my company is hiring. Somebody messaged me on LinkedIn the other day. Maybe I can tell them, hey, maybe you should apply.
Hmm.
They're like, oh, you know what? You're a nice person. I'm going to refer you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anything can happen, but you have to put work. You have to consistently show up. You have to keep talking to people, keep networking for very, I think for times when you're low, you can still think that, okay, I'm going to, take a break. I'm not going to do this. This is not working out for me. It's a very human thing to feel that.
Hmm.
But you can get back on your feet. Your family is not there to call someone, to find a contact for you here. Your friends might be able to do that, but they might just be able to do that much, nothing beyond that. Even if you get that interview somewhere, you are the one who's going to give that interview. And people are very serious here. My friend told me that there's an opening because he knew I would not leave that job. I will not spoil his image in front of his manager. And within 2 months, I'll be like, okay, I'm leaving. No. How did
He
that happen?
vouched for you only when because he knew you. He knew who you were and what your work ethic was.
I'd only met him for one time before that, just once
Yeah. But
for a
those
coffee.
interactions, even online interactions, everything told him that you're serious about what you do. You're gonna show up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. The imprint that you leave on people has to be true of who you are. It should
Yeah.
be, you're not trying to fake anything. See,
Yeah.
you can play around as much as you want during certain days, but when it
Hmm.
comes to work, buckle up, get serious.
Hmm.
If
Hmm. Hmm.
you career for yourself, there are sacrifices that you will need to make, and everyone's journey has some sacrifices. Those will be subjective again. Someone is going to miss out on a trip. Someone is going to not see their parents for a long time. Someone is not going to, celebrate their birthday or whatsoever.
Right.
Top more than you used to back home, whatever
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
is going to add up. And with that, some risk and reward, hand in hand. Take some risk. I was always told that, oh, you're just doing one course. You should do two. You should get a 3 year study permit. I
Hmm.
always ask, well, when you say 3 years work permit, I don't see that it's written somewhere. It's not guaranteed, right? That you're going to
Hmm.
get a 3 year work permit
Hmm.
is that's what people
Up
think.
to. That's
It's
it
up
says
to
it's
them.
up to 3 years. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no guarantee that you're going to get 3 years. So why are you
Yeah.
relying on? No,
Right.
there's no. What if you don't get a job? I had my job lined up even before I graduated. My interview was the next day of my convocation. If you take risk, there's reward, but measured risk, of course.
Measured risk that it's well thought out. As you said, mindset and strategy has to go hand in hand.
I'm a planner. I like to plan things. I grab a pen and paper, write everything down, chart out plans. 6 to 8 months, this is what I'm going to do. I have a 3 year plan. I might also have a 5 year plan. That's a part of my personality. But if you're not even a planner, day to day, you should know what you're going to do in the next 3 months, maybe, because that is something that your life is going to depend on. If I don't have a job in a certain time period while I've promised myself or thought to myself that I think this is going to be my permanent home, I'm going to try and stay here permanently. How?
Hmm.
I need to know that what is going to qualify for that. What sort of experience do I need? How much is that? Do I need to work for 1 year? Do I need to work for 2 years? How long is that duration going to be? When do I need to start to be able to get there? And I want to get there as soon as possible. So that I think comes with planning. I was told by
Yeah.
many people, there's still time, Mehak, apply for a second course while I was graduating. Like I
Hmm.
said, work part-time job, save up money. And I just knew that if there's something that I'm going to invest again in terms of education, that will be, maybe I'm going to master in something. But
Hmm.
no, I'm not going to just buy out time, buy education to delay something.
Hmm.
I believe
Hmm.
I'm going to find a job within the timeline that I have and then file for my permanent residency. You absolutely can. Just have to figure out the timing.
About the permanent residency, was there anything that you felt overwhelmed on when you were thinking about applying for permanent residency?
I think that's a very good question. As much as serious I appear, sometimes there are certain things that I feel that are out of my control. My career, I feel 100%. if there's any win, that is to God, to all the people who've supported me. But if there's any failure, that is just mine. That's how I think of my career. But when it comes to other fields where I think I am not in control, I like to seek expert advice. And I don't
Hmm.
like to, divulge in that field where I'm going to do my own research. No. What I'm going to do is find the best person, utilize their knowledge, get there. I'm not going to do it myself because I don't have that confidence in myself. There's people who are experts and they're there for a reason. So when I started thinking that, okay, I have to apply for a permanent residency, I did not really keep on finding criterias that, oh, this is what I need, that is what I need. I just knew that there's a framework. These are the sort of things that I will need, but I will take expert advice.
Hmm.
So I planned it 6 to 8 months before I was going to finish on my work permit. I
Hmm.
knew that in 6 months, it's good enough timeline for me to get all the documents in place because there's a lot of third party things that you need, right? You need
Right.
that matter your police
Your
clearance or
police clearances and yeah.
all those documents in. So I knew that 6 to 8 months is a good timeline. I'm going to reach out
Hmm.
to somebody for that as well. Networking, trying to reach out to people. Hey, is there an immigration lawyer or a consultant that you're using? Who is
Hmm.
that? How's your experience been with that person? Not to say any names. I was trying to find out an immigration consultant. Somebody directed me towards somebody. I was not able to
Hmm.
find an appointment with them.
Hmm.
Again, again, I'm calling that, giving me like, oh, 3 months from now we have an appointment. 2 months from now we have an appointment. I'm thinking, if that is the amount of work that they have, if that's how busy they are, what if I
How
have a
are they
last?
gonna handle? Yeah.
They won't. They probably will say, maybe, 3 months from now we'll have a chat with you. Can't go there. And based on my past experience, I just knew I have to reach out to the best of the best. I am not going to compromise on this. This is a big, big, big decision in my life. A lot of people here think that you can just do it yourself. If
Hmm.
you feel confident enough, you know that you're right, you have a very straightforward case, or you feel that you know it more than anyone, do it. I think a good consultant or a lawyer will outrightly, I think, even reject your case if they feel it's too twisted, if
Yeah.
they think they're able to do it. I
Yeah.
always knew that whatever my case is, even if it's twisted, it's not. I have to reach out to somebody because they know more than me. And I
Hmm.
have a life to manage here. I have a career to manage here. I don't have the luxury of spending hours and hours on this. Experts exist for a reason. So
Hmm.
I knew for sure. And a friend of mine referred me to you. She was like, oh, great work, maybe speak to them. I got in touch with Sunrise in Feb of 2025 itself.
5. Yeah.
Yes, everything just went in a jiffy. So February, I got in touch with you, and I think within one meeting, I was able to decide that. I still can remember that just one meeting was on a random Wednesday. Okay, this is Mehak, this is the process. I'm like, okay, done. And I cannot put this into words. I cannot stress this enough. The comfort that I had felt on that phone call. That, okay, I'm in good hands. Somebody knows what they're doing, and it's with good credentials. There's social media, there's ways of, looking someone up. My job is like that. I'm an investigator, I investigate people all the time. Yes, you can do all that. But there's transparency there, right? If someone's posting their credentials somewhere, if you feel comfortable, and then they're supporting you with the way that they talk and the things that they're providing you, that is the biggest thing. If I'm feeling that comfort that I will be heard of, I have a last minute concern, this person is going to show up, and they are not just thinking of me as another client. It's more like, hey, this person's future is in my hands.
Hmm.
I am
Hmm.
going to present their case to IRCC, and they're going to make a life changing decision for them. If you take that with all the seriousness, why not? I just knew in that one phone call, Sunrise is what I'm going with. There's no questions asked. And I think within a day or two, we started with what do we need from now, and like what are the documents that I would need. Little things. I'm in a different country. I can't go back home. And there's a third party thing. I remember that you told me that, Mehak, this is the right time for you to start for your PCC. And you won't believe, my PCC came just like a day or two before when the India Pakistan conflict happened. It could have delayed,
Otherwise, it would have. Yeah.
could delayed, but it's the farsightedness of that person. I know none of us knew, right? We couldn't have predicted that. But someone who's been in that field for years and years has that experience that, this is the correct timeline, follow that, do this. And then I'm not I'm not in a position where I'm thinking, oh, why is this person saying that? I don't entirely trust them. No. Whatever they're saying, I'm going to understand and take away from it and just do whatever they say. Yes, you apply your own mind, but sometimes you don't have to. In my case, ignorance is bliss. I'm in good hands. I'm going to follow what I've been told. That's it. I'm going to sit back and relax. My journey, my PR journey, only stressful part about it was the documentation part. I applied for my application 10 days. I got my invite 10 days before my status was going to expire in the country. I was in a
Yeah.
position where I was thinking, okay, I need to send my books back. I need to, sell all these things and I need to close my bank accounts. But at that time, I knew my files ready. Were ready to go whenever that draw comes, if it comes. But, something that's not in my hand, I'm going to handle it with perfection. My experience has been great. I think I cannot justify it in words.
Mm.
It's a big, big, big milestone, but it was easy for me. Apart from that, waiting on the draw part, that is nerve wracking, yes. But again, that's not in my control. But other than that, I was on the back seat. Okay. Somebody else is driving. I'm not. I think
But
that's
you know that I appreciated you previously as well. It's amazing. It's refreshing to see clients that I love it when clients do their due diligence about who they're going to hire because it's very, very important. This is a process that you need to trust your consultant slash lawyer. But once you've done your due diligence, then you need to place your absolute trust and you have to believe because the strategy is ever evolving. Immigration is evolving at any given time, and strategy also evolves according to that. If the trust waves off, then I think both parties are going to be discontent. And you were fantastic to work with. You would always understand because I like to empower my clients. I like to tell them what the process involves, and you were that kind of client who wanted to understand but then trusted. You said, okay, Karan, you guys take a call. I fully understand it. I have a full 360-degree view of this. Now you decide how you want to do it, which is amazing. So thank you for that.
And I think working with you has also, told me it's made me feel that you're not working on just the immigration part of it. The day that I got this good news that I've been approved, I was still not in a position that I was believing it. I was like, okay, what happened? So 6 a.m. in the morning, I have seen a message. There's an update on your application. I wake up, like, okay, what happened? I'm thinking, did I miss something? Or was a document that I missed uploading? What happened? And to like, I have a news to deliver. And I'm like, there's a pause, and they're like, you've been approved. I could not believe it. How so the timeline that I've heard is it takes 6 months, 8 months, whatever. I was telling people that it's gonna take a long time because you're answerable to your employees as well, right? If they see the clock ticking, you're going to be leaving the country or you've been asked to leave the country on so date, that date is approaching. They've assigned you work. It needs to be
Huh,
assigned to somebody else. So
huh,
you're
huh.
able and you're also thinking, I need to wrap up my life. And then suddenly you get that call where it's like you've been approved. I was in total shock. But then even on that phone call, I still remember you told me it doesn't stop here. Unstoppable
Yeah.
journeys again doesn't stop here. Mehak, we have to think forward. There's things that we need to do now. Maybe, think about your career again. If you want to take the exams, you want to become a lawyer in Canada, do that. And I
Yeah.
think that adds that personal touch. My relationship with you is not just that you're my immigration attorney. It's more like, okay, I'm getting all this real life advice. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not just because we come from the same field. It's with all the other clients that you have. You're a big part of their journey. And if you have the knowledge, if you have the power of guiding them or propelling them into the right direction, which will change the trajectory of their life, why not? Again,
And how can I not be personally, emotionally involved? There's so much, that we share with our clients on this that I often don't like the word clients
yeah.
sometimes, right? Because it evolves into a relationship which is very, very different, where I'm guiding, I learn so much from my clients, right? And there's emotion, there's anxiety, and we're seeing things through together. There's frustration with the IRCC, with so many things that we experience together that you end up rooting for that person. So, I'm rooting for you. I know you're a tremendous lady, and in just 2 years, what you've achieved is nothing short of a miracle. And I know it's not divine miracle; it's a planned miracle. So because there's a lot of effort and hard work, blood, sweat, and tears that went behind that.
Course, the entire journey, I think it was filled with some ups and downs. Pressing on that, some people might think of it as just mere good luck. Hey, you always encountered good opportunities. There were rejections. There were times when I thought I'm going to fail. There were times, I think when I initially came here within 1 week, my mindset was, okay, I'm going to complete my education. I'm going to go back. This is
Yeah.
not the, I don't think I fit in here. I'm not going to just keep running from shift to shift, job to job. No, but then being in good hands, planning a career for yourself, knowing this is the place that I am aiming to be in, this is where I want to be, this is where I belong. And I think get in touch with those things is it's going to really push you through. Even before getting the job that I have, I was in downtown at one point of time, and I was looking at these buildings and like, it would be nice to work here. It would be nice to be in one of those buildings. This view is incredible. That um, so constantly attaching yourself to that feeling that it is going to happen. And
Manifesting as well at the
yeah,
same time.
you put everything on a piece of paper and it is going to come to you. I'm not saying just blindly wishing and praying. Action is required. You have to work for it, but it is only going to come to you if one, you have good intentions. Second, you're not taking advantage of people. A lot of people work as volunteers here because they know that it's going to help them get a government job tomorrow. Or you're a good
Hmm.
citizen, you're working, all that. But again, that's also a networking opportunity. You meet so many people who are in the industry
Hmm.
and you can talk to them. They're like, so stressing on that, the job that I have currently, I never applied for that position. I never applied for the bank job that I have. How did that happen? Networking. The run into this gentleman on LinkedIn. He was like, oh, I think you should speak to this and this person, message that person. That person's like, okay, we might have something coming up. It's an assessment. Okay, went for the assessment. Then, the whole interview process happened. My interview was scheduled to be on the next day of my convocation. You have to make a sacrifice. I was not out there celebrating. I didn't let anyone come to my convocation, my family, nobody. I was there alone. I went there, clicked a few pictures, got my degree, came back home, and I was studying for my interview. And I was preparing for it. I cleared the interview, I got the job, and it was in such strict timeline because I knew I have 1 year of work permit. And if I want to be able to qualify for the permanent residency, I will have to complete the experience in that
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
A strict timeline was there that even before I receive that work permit in my mailbox, I have to have an offer in hand, which I did. However, my start date was a little late. So, but I had the job offer in hand. And that's, something that we had to work on. And thankfully, because I enjoyed being at my part-time job so much, I built such beautiful connections there. I never left that job. Yes, getting up, 6 a.m. in the morning, leave your bed in negative
Is
20
not fun in winters.
fun. It's not fun, but I did that regardless. I did not know how it's going to help me. Maybe you can say, there was some energy guiding me that you don't leave this job. You can say
Yeah.
that. I never left that job. I could have easily said, I have a full-time job now. I'm not going to do it. You don't see those things, even if it's a minimum wage job or anything, with a lens of disgust.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm going to do it now. I have a good job. No, it's not about making money. It's just, I want to be there. It's a good space to be in. I get to connect with so many people. I get to be in a space where, I'm feeling uplifted and I talk to so many people. Why not? Again, one question I will always keep saying is, why not you? Why do you think that as an immigrant, I cannot
Hmm.
have life, or, I cannot even land a job if I don't have a referral? Nobody referred me for the job that I have. Let alone refer, I never applied for this position. I just
Wow.
straight out networked, and then, I was invited for an assessment, cleared that. There's interviews, rounds of interviews, you clear those. And I'm very, very thankful for the people who gave me the opportunity to be hired. I never had banking experience, but you have to, I think, prove yourself there that maybe they saw something in me that I was able to tell them, and then also connect your experience that this is what I do currently, and I think this aligns with this role in this shape. This is what my current role is. These are the duties I perform. I think it's similar to this. My part-time job is very different than my full-time job. My past experience is very different than the job that I have. But you have to be able to identify that. And thankfully, you have AI now. You can do
Yeah.
that. Seconds that, oh, this is what I do, and that's what I should be doing, and this is where I want to go. Can you put
Helps
forth?
you articulate even for the future, right?
And again, like you can use AI. This is going to go off topic, but yes, use it sparingly. If you're going to send someone that one impactful message, don't use AI. If you are making that message off of AI and then just copying and pasting it to someone's inbox, they're going to feel,
it feels non-human, and there's
yeah,
always some parts. There's a M dash. I don't know if you notice the chat GPT puts way too many M dashes in between. So I can always tell when
yeah.
I have someone's has written a very supposedly a very heartfelt note. I see, okay, not as heartfelt.
True, you just wanted to save time. So put that time in, write that message, thank people. Someone can be a part of your journey, knowingly and unknowingly. Just have to have that gratitude towards life. And I think not everyone is presented with this opportunity. As people think about a country or, a lifestyle there, whatever, oh, some people say that whatever you're earning here, that's, maybe you would earn less, but there's so much comfort in India. No, no, it's not about comfort. It's not about that. It's about the journey. It's about where I'm going, where I'm going to land, and don't let anyone else's goals rub off on you. That might be someone else's goal. Their goal is to be comfortable, have a comfortable life. Maybe I
And
spent
good on them. Yeah, to each their own. But if you're looking for something, if you determined and if you think you can achieve, you can. You most certainly can.
nobody's going to stop you. Only you can.
Yeah.
You're the only person thinking in your head who's telling
Yeah.
yourself that I'm not that good, or maybe, I don't have these skills. Great stories, even when you're in the immigration journey. You will go on all sorts of social media platforms and try and find news in progress. Okay, what's happening? What's the trend these days? Are a lot of people getting their PRs or a lot of people getting rejected? The possibility of people posting their wins and the possibility of people posting their losses is not comparable. Most people are going to come online, seek help for a difficult
Hmm.
situation, but most people are not going to post online when they, accomplish something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be mindful of the sort of content that you engage in, of the sort of things that you put your mind to. If I'm
Consume.
constantly thinking that 10 people got rejected today and it takes 10 months
Then you're
to,
only gonna think negatively and you're gonna lose all hope.
yes, you in the entire process, hope keeps you going, right? I'm here for 1 year. I have a hope that I might be able to land this job. I'm putting in the work, but anything can happen. But you don't lose that hope. You just hold on to
Yeah.
it and go and
Yeah.
you up, keep doing one thing, just have your whatever is in your hands, have that ready. Once you have that, then even if it is in someone else's hands, it's on to them. As an immigrant, I don't know how much of importance is this, that the role that you have, the job that you have, does that contribute to your permanent residency journey or not? But the bigger purpose in everything is something that you should remember on a daily to enjoy your life. If
Hmm.
I'm thinking that I'm preventing or detecting financial crime, which is maybe saving, someone, or I'm
Hmm.
contributing to the country, or I'm whatever. You're
Hmm.
a lawyer, you're helping people realize their dreams, you're a big facilitator in that journey. That keeps you going, right? So you have
Hmm.
to constantly remember that my identity is one, just not an immigrant. I'm not here to just get my permanent residency. I'm building a life here, which is a
The
lot,
goal.
yes,
Yeah.
which
That's a brilliant point, Mehak, because I think people conflate the PR as the ultimate goal, right? And I think that's where they go wrong in a lot of cases. That's they reverse engineer it from there, right? What gets me a PR the quickest? Is it working as a security supervisor for 1 year and then just while I do that I study IELTS? What about what comes after PR? You're going to be dissatisfied if you've worked the other way and worked your way just to a PR. Work your way to your goal, what makes you happy, and reverse engineer from there and PR is going to be a byproduct regardless in most circumstances.
I was just going to say that I never thought of my life as point A to Z. It was always point Z to A.
Yeah,
If I don't know, so for me, I knew the exact role I wanted to be in. For some people, yes, there are times when you don't have that clarity. Okay, but you know what are the feelings that you want to feel. You can know that I want to have a job where I have flexibility. I want to be able to have a job where, I have a very big purpose, or I like this, or this should be an element of the life that I'm going to have in 5 years. And on basis of that, you identify the career that you want to be in. And then you identify, oh, what pathway can I take to my permanent residency? So you technically do reverse engineer your life because it is about
yeah,
your life, about just your permanent residency. It's about the career that you're going to have and the personal life that you're going to have after that. Finances do play a big role in that. Yes, money is very important in realizing your dream, but how do you realize it and how do you get to that point is also important. There's no shortcuts. Yes, somebody might win, a lot of money at a casino, but that's a one-off incident. You can't make money overnight. You can't make careers overnight. There's a lot
yeah,
that process. Also going to encounter difficult people or going to push down that your throat that you're not going to qualify. How will you qualify in 1 year? That's not going to happen. You won't have that sort of points. मैं खोलता हूँ आपके साथ CRS calculator नहीं बनेंगे इतने points. Those little things and those points are important to me. So, if I have an English language exam that I need to take, I'm going to excel there.
huh, huh,
Take my time because those 3 points matter.
yeah.
If I'm talking about your permanent residency, that score that matters, right? You can be left out of a draw.
Yeah, yeah, of course. When you lose out for one, if the CRS that was the ITS that were issued was for 514, and you were at 513, just because you didn't optimize an additional point, you're going to really, really yank your hair out.
So that 1 point matters in your journey. आप जितना भी you can keep stressing on, oh, it's done, हो गया, and I've done my part. Do you feel comfortable that you've actually done your part? Have I done everything possible? So
Yeah.
you're taking that one language exam that you feel confident in, that I've spoken this language for X amount of years. Maybe, study a little more, work a little harder, be confident, yes, but not overconfident. You can always improve. There's always possibility for that. And I think the most stressful part with all of these things is the timelines.
Huh, huh,
Um, so you are working a full-time job, you have an exam to take, you're talking to people about documents. So for say you have foreign experience and you're talking to somebody who's back home in a different time zone, there's a
huh,
possibility they might have left that job.
huh.
They might be on a holiday. They might be doing something else in their life. You're reaching out to them. Hey, can I get this letter? Can I get this letter of reference from you? You can only get that if you maintain a good relationship with them. You've been a
Right.
good being to them through and through. You never know who's going to contribute to your journey. So those times are stressful because that's in their hands now. You're only going to
Yeah,
require. Can't be arrogant in such positions that,
yeah,
oh, ये दोगे तो कोई बात नहीं. Sometimes you have to find out connections, and these are things that you can't just, make a phone call and have them ready for you. These things,
correct.
and then while managing a whole life in a different country,
Hmm,
it gets hard because you're answerable to so many people. There's your family who's constantly asking you, what's your plan? Are you going to move back? What's happening? Your friends are asking you that. Your permit's running out. I had 10 days. I almost thought that, okay, Mehak, it's time to pack your bags. Next step, we're going to the bank, asking them what are the next steps, what happens. But I never gave up hope. Even if I was going to come to India, I knew that I'm going to make a life for myself there. See, your employment, your life, it comes through you, your ideas, and the rest of the things are just an outcome of who you are. It comes from you, and you are always going to stay with yourself. So even if anyone's in that position where they feel, okay, for some reason I couldn't, make that happen in this timeline, it's not that it's an impossibility. It will happen
huh.
at a stage of time. I think we even spoke about it. Okay, okay, what if things go south? What is the
Yeah.
plan? Because obviously
What's
for
a plan B?
to prepare it, I was never you never painted a rosy picture for me telling me, heck, we will do this, aisa ho jayega. Just said, I think this can happen, but if not,
Huh,
you should. So having that prepared, that you have to apply for a visitor record or whatever for that matter, the knowledge, you're going to absorb that and then make necessary changes in your life. But
Yeah.
still remember that there's hope till that permit expires. So even on that last day, things can change for you. And those stressful times, I mean, as much as it would have been a fast process for you to be able to, process my file, keep everything ready, we filed in 5 days, I guess, or something like on 10 in 10
From
days.
the
10 days
ITA, from the
IT.
date of ITA. Yeah. No, from the date of ITA, 10th day we applied,
And it
right?
was a day before my permit was going to expire.
Yeah. Your work permit was expiring one day later.
Yeah. And then we were in different countries.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those times where I'm also working, you're working, I'm talking to you, okay, should we do this? And then, there's last minute things that you're encountering. It goes a long way. I felt this
Yeah.
in my the connections that you make. There's people who will help you in the last minute.
Yeah.
And you don't know why they helped you. It is because maybe you were a good human being to them at a certain point of your life. The intention should be pure. As an immigrant, your journey is again and again not limited to your permanent residency. It is a big part, but you're building a life here. So when you move here, think of that. Not that मैं ये भी कर वो भी कर लूं, ऐसा भी कर लूं. Security comes at a later stage. You just show up as a good human being every day.
That's perfectly summarized. I love it. I agree with 100% with what you said. Just shifting gears, I'm very curious. What's the fun part of your life in Canada? What do you do for fun?
I would say I think 2 years went by in a jiffy. I was not really doing so much, but this might sound very weird to a lot of people. I think I've always dreamt of an individual, quiet life. I always wanted that, I enjoy the house that I'm in.
Huh.
One thing that changed for me when I came here was that, you're out of your space, first of all. You're sharing a space with somebody. People are living different ways. Some people are not even having beds. They just put a
Huh.
mat for sleep because we're only home for like a certain number of hours. Why should we do that? Never sat right with me. I can't live like that because I'm not here temporarily, right? I'm going to be here
Huh.
for a long. And then for me, it was finding a house,
Huh.
having that space where, if I'm talking to somebody, I have that privacy, I have that time, and I don't have someone constantly bothering me in my space, or not even bothering, just constantly sitting in my space.
Huh.
So getting a space where you feel comfortable in, maybe, it can be a room that
Huh.
you lock the door to and just be in your zone. I like to enjoy my rent. That's how I put it.
Huh.
Fruits of my labor. And I like to just be in my apartment and, light a candle and do my journaling or do whatever I want to. It's because that has put me in the
That
position.
brings you joy.
Yeah, that's what brought me all the lifestyle that I have today. If
Yeah.
I'm going to be in the middle of the city, if I'm, maybe spending a little few extra dollars, if I'm allowed to,
Huh.
if I don't have such financial commitments and I'm, in close proximity to everything, I walk to my work every day.
Right.
Complete joy for me to be able to be in such close proximity. That was something that I always enjoyed, having that
Huh.
comfortable space that I can decorate, that I can put a certain way. And, that brings me comfort whenever I'm out somewhere. I'm like, I'm going home now. That feeling is important. But just because everything was just so rushed, not rushed, but I had to do everything in such short timeline, I was not able to enjoy in a way that I was taking trips. I've been here for 2 years. I haven't taken a single trip. I intend to now, but that constant clock is there in the back of your head. I did not take a vacation in 2 years. I did not go anywhere because I knew that what if, if I fall short on those days for my permanent residency? I only have 1 year. That's something I'm looking forward to. But regardless, the culture here is great. You have all these fests for different countries. You can go try out their food. You know, you can enjoy all these things. And there's just so much happening in the city. So
Huh.
much that you can just acquaint yourself with. Um, I live very close to some very good locations that you have the library here, you have the museums here. You can go to all those places. You can set aside times. There's so many concerts that happen here. You can live a fulfilled life if you choose to. Those experiences are there for you, and you can experience those, live those moments, and think, okay, I've made it finally. And You can shop till you drop, do whatever. I feel I like to just walk around the city, look at nice houses, nice neighborhoods. Okay, maybe this is the next thing that I'm going to aim for. This is what I want. I wonder what this
Manifesting. Mehek's manifesting is happening and the
20
mindset and strategy is already working.
all. I'm like, in those neighborhoods thinking, what are these people doing? I wonder what this person does. One time I was working and I just saw a lady on a swing on a random Wednesday, and she's just swinging in the middle of the day. I'm thinking, what? I think what profession does she come from? Working from home. That's when my dream was to live in a place like this, decorate my apartment. So you really have to not forget those things on a day-to-day
Huh,
basis. You
huh,
have to keep reminding yourself, I'm not here to just make money.
yeah.
It's your There are experiences, there are connections that you will make. You will run into beautiful people. I think take it all. And the best part is you don't have to talk to people who are your age. You speak
Huh.
to so many people. Everyone's just open to having a conversation here. You'll speak to people who are younger than you, 4, 5, 7 years younger than you.
Or they could be in their 60s or 70s and
My
it doesn't matter.
oldest friend was 96. The one who
Wow.
a little bit younger than them is 74. This very kind person. He has a consultancy firm. This is the person who taught me the stock market. All these people, you give them a little background about yourself, they will draw connections with you. His wife used to live in India. She's lived in Jaipur for a long time. So they have that connection. And,
Huh,
you're just able to make friends, connections here and what not. And again, I
huh,
will always think, why not you? Why do you think that you're not able to do that? Show up
huh,
nice, have good conversations, be a good human being through and through. Good people will come your way. I was able to find you, work with you. It's been a true delight. I think sitting here, I feel this is, a full circle moment. I've seen people in those videos and I'm like, okay, what are these people doing? I wonder how do they get on these videos and, talk about their journey. Today, I'm in that position. I'm incredibly grateful to be here. And again, anyone can take away anything from this. Our purpose here would be fulfilled.
Oh, that is amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. I truly enjoyed it, and I know that our listeners, what they will learn from this, if they are able to even pick up, as you said, even one thing, they'll get a lot of value. Thank you for sharing your journey. It means a lot. You were truly uncensored, and your journey is an unstoppable journey. We are rooting for you for now and forever. And thank you. Have a great rest of the day.
Well, take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.